All right, welcome to another episode of Beyond ERP. Today we have an engaging guest, Billy Gahn, a seasoned sales professional currently serving as the strategic channel sales manager at SPS Commerce, a role he's assumed in February 2024. Billy oversees a large portion of the SPS NetSuite partner community. We'll delve into what that means. Billy's journey has been a long tenured mark of both growth and achievement, originally joining the company in 2012, spending 4 years working in various implementation delivery teams at SPS, and then spent 4 years as a solution engineer. So a lot to unpack there, and we're excited to dive in. I'm Louis Balla, partner at Nuage. Alongside me is my co-host, Gina Ostrowsky. Let's dive in. Billy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm honored and grateful to be on. This is my first ever podcast appearance, so big day for me.
Welcome, Billy. We're glad you're here with you, and your first experience is this one. We'll knock it out. Why don't you start by telling the audience a little bit about SPS Commerce and your journey in the world of strategic channel sales, and congrats on your recent promotion as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. SPS is, where I've kind of grown up as a professional to some degree. But SPS is really a well-known full-service EDI provider, really the only full-service EDI provider in the market. Our goal is, it's a stated mission of the company is really to connect all retail trading partners through an easiest to join network, and the goal being to free them up to do what they do best, which is run their business. So really making and developing a network that people can tap into to be able to connect with retailers, grocers, distributors, manufacturers, logistics partners, their supplier community, if they have that, really making it easy for them to make those connections and streamline their business.
And Billy, with over 12 years of experience in all things EDI and seeing the evolution, can you talk us through just how SPS has evolved really to becoming one of the preeminent players in the EDI space?
Yeah. When I started at SPS in our delivery teams, big box retail was everything. Everybody was trying to get into Costco and Target and Walmart. And so a lot of companies, that's how they made a lot of money, and they got into those big box retailers. And then they started to say, like, well, what if I could get direct to consumers going? Like, how could I sell directly to the people that are buying my products? So a lot of them started to get into, e-commerce and Amazon and building out their own websites. And how can I build that to kind of connect with my customers directly? So they started to do that. Now we see a lot of kind of the inverse of how things have evolved, where you see, people making content, creating a brand on their own social media, developing that brand into a company, and suddenly catching the eye of a buyer at Target and saying, like, hey, that buyer reaches out to me and they want to put me in end caps in the southeastern United States to give me a trial run. And now they're asking me to do EDI, and I don't know what that is. SPS is really well equipped for not only those small companies that are just getting started into EDI, but the larger companies that are looking to kind of streamline that EDI operations team to say, like, hey, we need to spend less time building out new connections each and every time we have a new retailer that wants to work with us. How can we make this easier and more reusable so that we can start selling faster, which is going to drive the business, obviously. So we're really equipped to help companies at various stages not only get started, but help kind of optimize that process through, things like system integrations and working with partners like Nuage to develop business practices that really, our goal is to help you solve the business problem you're having, whether that's faster onboarding, whether that's more streamlined operations or fulfillment. However we can do that to help a company and our client really be more efficient is a major goal of ours. And that's been an evolution. It used to just be, here, I'll get you set up on EDI and we'll do everything you need to do for it. But now it's really evolved into, and I think everybody sees that in this ecosystem of, like, you need to be able to help your client actually solve those problems, not just, set up NetSuite and then get out of the way and let them do it. Like, let's keep optimizing it so that we can actually continue to solve business problems.
Yeah, and Billy, I think that brings up a good next question of just what are some of the unique challenges and opportunities that you all at SPS are identifying that, whether it be headwind or evolution within the EDI sphere? We often joke, it's not an easy process by any means connecting to all of these trading partners, but is it getting easier? Are you guys getting better? It sounds like it's becoming a more seamless experience for the end user.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but I like to think it is with our customers, helping kind of make that easier. I mean, it's ever evolving, like a lot of industries. Like retail is evolving, like I mentioned, how customers are getting into it. The requirements are ever evolving. I mean, different retailers have different requirements. Everybody uses what's called an 850 purchase order to a large degree, but nobody does it exactly the same way. I always joke it's kind of the least standard when you start getting into EDIs. Everybody does it differently. Everybody has different requirements. And there's, a traditional way of going about making those connections is building sort of point-to-point connections with each retail partner or each selling channel that you're in, like e-com marketplaces, Shopify accounts. All of that is done differently. And EDI, the old school ANSI X12 EDI that a lot of people know, it's not the only way people are communicating. So you have to develop new communication methods, whether that's direct APIs or different software to communicate with your retailers. But then also, the evolution of, the customer's expectations. You don't just have to make your buyer at Target happy. You got to actually make me happy if I ordered your product off Target.com and you're shipping it directly to me. And in the world of Amazon and other retailers that have, really made huge leaps in the logistics process, I want that at my door maybe overnight at this point, which personally I think is a little unreasonable, but sometimes I need that thing tomorrow morning. So that's a real big challenge for our customers. And like, how do you meet that expectation, or at least set the expectation appropriately of like, hey, this is not going to show up overnight. This is going to take time. That's kind of the biggest thing driving our conversations with our customers is how is their customer consuming their product? How are they finding their product? And how do they expect it to arrive? Whether that's timing, whether what it looks like, that's really a big evolution of what we've seen. And that's a big challenge for a lot of customers in a lot of different ways. It's not just, can I get this out the door fast enough, but can I also keep my shipping costs down so that I don't have to raise my prices? So am I doing carrier shopping for the best carrier? Am I doing small parcel? There's a never ending list of things that are possibly changing and likely changing. So being able to actually evolve with that is a key to our business success. And that's why we're really driving towards like, how do we solve that business problem, as opposed to, well, you're all set up with Target, go ahead, start getting orders. Like, it's more than that.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a complete journey with the customer and driven from the end user, really, and their requirements. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah, ever changing. Sounds like you're keeping up with it though.
I try.
As we pivot a little bit to partnerships, like what we have with y'all, it's really crucial in channel sales. So let's talk a little bit about how to approach collaboration with NetSuite partners and what this role has played in your success.
Yeah. I think the most important thing, and it's kind of a shift, it's a shift that our company has made recently. And I've always had this kind of point of view of like, be curious, try to understand whether it's a mutual customer that we have between us, or if it's a partner that I'm working with for the first time or the 100th time. Don't assume your expertise is going to apply to everything that might come up. It's important to continue to be curious and work with a partner that you may have had a partnership for years with, but actually understand, hey, how is your day-to-day evolving, and how can I help you in that evolution? How can I then help your customers? And the most important thing is being honest and acting with integrity and having the hard conversations. Like, I think everybody knows every ERP project or every implementation you might do does not always go off without a hitch. I don't think I'm breaking any news to anybody about that. But when things do go wrong, how do you move forward? How do you have an open line of communication where you can have that honest and difficult conversation sometimes about where did this happen? Where did we go wrong, or what went wrong, so that you can correct it for the next time, or correct it in real time as things feel like they're starting to maybe go off the rails a little bit. So having that open communication and having that interaction from a partnership perspective has been key for me. Being very upfront with partners as I moved into this role from other roles at SPS, I think has served me very well in terms of how I interact with my partners, the information I get back from them, because that's more important for us as well to say, hey, this is the customer's expectation of what they're supposed to get from SPS. Right now, they feel like they're not getting it. Or, hey, you're delivering on everything that they asked for, but this is coming up next week. We need to make sure we're prepared for this testing scenario that we're going to have to go through because it's more complicated than the previous scenarios we've tested. So that open communication is of the utmost importance, but having honest feedback, actionable feedback that you can work on and improve is something that really drives me to say, hey, how can we get 1% better every day? That sort of a mindset, as opposed to, staying with the status quo and thinking that's good enough. You can always have some room for improvement.
Yeah, definitely. And then the strategic vision of furthering SPS Commerce, how is that going to impact NetSuite or vice versa? Any insights?
Hopefully really positively for everybody that I work with, because our channel team is growing really quickly. I think in the 2.5 years that I've been in this role, the overall channel sales team at SPS has about doubled in size. So we've gone from about 12 or 13 headcount to 25, 26. That's allowing us to have a lot more expertise in our given area. We've actually added a second person that is working alongside me in the NetSuite partner space. So more attention for partners, better communication, like I was just talking about, freeing up time to actually have those conversations and make sure we're prepared going into calls with customers, whether that's pre-sale, whether that's implementation, really freeing up a little bandwidth to have more in-depth conversations and really understand what is the business problem we're trying to solve? What's the business problem you're trying to solve for the customer? And how can we support you in solving that? Because we're not operating in silos. This is definitely a partnership between SPS and Nuage in a project, but also very importantly, more importantly, probably with that customer who's actually, contracted to work with both of us. So I always say I have 3 groups that I'm trying to keep happy at all times. The customer being, number 1. And then, 2A and 2B are the partner that I'm working with, in this case, Nuage, but then also my internal implementation partners. So how do I make sure everybody's getting what they need? And if I'm able to facilitate that, then I'm doing a good job, and the likelihood of a positive outcome for our mutual customer goes sky high, which is great. That's what we all want.
Yeah, I think being a conduit, to say the least, is certainly integral and something the customer experience expects these days. Could you maybe just share a little bit more on some of the technological trends as it relates to EDI you all are witnessing, and maybe in general, kind of what that evolution looks like, and where do you see things going in the next couple of years?
I mean, AI and machine learning is on like the tip of everyone's tongue when it comes to asking questions about what's next. I know I listened to one of the episodes and I got your take on it, Louis. I think I share some of your skepticism about the AI revolution we might all be maybe living in or maybe not living in. It's kind of only as good as however we're training it. I feel like every day I see a new story about somebody tricking it into guaranteeing them they could buy this car for $1 instead of talking to an actual salesperson who says like, no, I'm not going to sell you a car for $1. It is still important though. I mean, we look at the importance of the accuracy of data that customers are using to make business decisions. That's a huge aspect of it. You can use machine learning, you can use artificial intelligence to help improve that process, but you're probably still wanting to have people in place to make sure that like, yeah, this is feeling right. This looks right. This is what we're seeing actually from a day-to-day perspective. But all that can inform you on how you use that data. We look at from our perspective, how do you incorporate like point of sale analytics information into your EDI process? Like, how can that help you with demand planning? I know from my narrow point of view in the NetSuite space, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is a thing that's starting to come up more and more. We have our point of sale analytics solution that we can feed into that. Like that's the type of structure and information that takes a customer from saying, well, I got an order for 1,000 units last month. This month they've ordered 700 units. Well, where's that breakdown? The analytics information can actually tell you, well, you're selling really well in these areas, but in this area, you haven't sold any of the products. So like, that's why they're only replenishing 700. We've tried a few things to help with AI and machine learning. We have an internal AI tool at SPS that's helping us with that. So, and it is important. But really, I think the evolution of technology is going to be more so centered on the accuracy of the data and how you can use that data to make better decisions, to make those decisions faster so that you can react more so in real time, as opposed to, well, last quarter, last month, we did this. How do we continue that trend, or how do we reverse that trend if it's a trend we don't like? So that's really where I see a lot of it improving, is how can we improve that accuracy, and how can we take better advantage of the data that we have to use that to make better decisions.
Well, that was exceptionally eloquent. I'm going to steal that soundbite for probably. Yes, as we wrap up, I just want to note to our listeners, if you're embarking on a journey or looking to streamline your operations, we at Nuage specialize in guiding your businesses. So whether you're just starting or seeking to optimize your existing systems, please look at Nuage as well as SPS on the EDI side. Billy, we'd like to give our guests kind of the last word. Anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Be curious. Keep that curiosity. Don't forget, even if you're an expert in a certain area, there's always something new to learn, or there's a different point of view on it that could help expand it. So I tell that to other people when I speak at like our new hire things, be curious. Don't think you know everything just because you've seen a few customers doing it one way. I think staying curious and keeping that genuine curiosity, not performative curiosity, because people see through that. Genuinely be curious about your customer, your client, because even if you can't help them with a certain problem they might have, they will come back to you with another problem that hopefully you can help them with. So remain curious, keep that curiosity.
All right. Well, signing out, and certainly appreciate your time today. Thank you again from myself, Gina Ostrowsky, to our listeners. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.